really nothing else to talk about in terms of news this morning. The Prime Minister will be forced to reveal all he knew about Peter Mandelson and his appointment as Britain's ambassador to Washington.
The move follows an internal revolt, and it stunned everybody really yesterday because it was led by Angela Rayner as MPs demand the full release of papers tied to Mandelson's appointment.
Well, Sir Keir Starmer admitted he knew about Mandelson's friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, but claimed he lied repeatedly about the extent of that relationship.
Conservative MP for Chingford and Woodford Green, Sir Ian Duncan-Smith, had this to say on The Late Show Live.
The Prime Minister was made to look utterly hopeless and foolish at the dispatch box. I was watching what Kemi did to him, and eventually, after 3 hard questions, he had to admit that actually that he did know some of these things. It's going to come even further. I cannot believe that in the vetting of Peter Mandelson, with his track record for having lied previously to governments, that MI5 and the security services generally would not have uncovered a whole series of issues about his relationship with Epstein. And that alone should have been enough to stop him being the ambassador, because that relationship was toxic.
Let's talk to political commentator, former Conservative advisor, Oscar Reddrop. Oscar, good morning to you.
Morning.
This is just beyond a mess now.
Yeah, it has been for quite some time. I think that's what was interesting in many ways about yesterday. It was the accumulation of the political capital that's been kind of draining from Starmer, actually particularly amongst his own MPs. And so, I mean, I think it was as far back as September when the Mandelson... when he was forced to sack Mandelson. Kind of since then, I think this iteration of the Labour government and Keir Starmer has been really lost, actually. And yesterday he desperately tried to hide behind process, which is a kind of a key characteristic of Starmer, is process. And that was so ill-judged, it completely missed the mood and the tone of what his own MPs wanted him to do. You know, you could see his cabinet, the front bench, like squirming, just watching him completely misread the situation. And I have to say, all these calls for, Morgan McSweeney, his chief of staff, who was a huge proponent of pushing Mandelson into the job in the first place, he's got to go, that's the only way Starmer can... It's too late for that. It's too late for that. Morgan had to have gone in September, when all this started to come out. It's way too late. It speaks to judgment. I'm trying not to just repeat what others have said on that, because the flaws are quite obvious now in Starmer. And I think the real worry for Starmer, because a lot of people watching this might go, Starmer himself isn't implicated in this scandal, I guess. It's kind of association. Maybe this is a bit unfair on him. And if he did ask questions about Mandelson's appointment, and he was lied to, all right, but this is the problem. Keir Starmer's done and finished now, ultimately. It could be days, could be weeks, could be a couple months, but it's done. Because there's what do his MPs save him for? And what does Starmer tell the country and people? I can't go now because I'm doing X, Y and Z. The Starmer project is just getting going. We can't stop this now. There's nothing.
No.
You could hear the gasp in the Commons yesterday when he admitted he had known about the risk, basically, when he appointed Mandelson. Why did he admit that? One can only think that now that they are going to let the paperwork come out, it surely means that he was warned, and he was warned sufficiently, and still went against the warnings.
Yeah, and so
he chose that he obviously had to admit it in the Commons.
Precisely, and I think Kemi did a really good job yesterday. And when I worked for Boris, I would see the shoe on the other foot, if you like, in terms of how Keir Starmer really twisted the knife on things like Partygate. And I think Kemi did the same. If anything, however, I would say the fight that Keir Starmer in the House of Commons yesterday was unable to show. He looked really defeated. He looked broken. I don't really like this about politics in a way, because these are, whatever you think, these are people. But, his hands were shaking. There's a clip now where you feel like he knew my time could be up here, and he had nowhere to go with it. I think voters out there, what I would say, and this is the other thing that would be quite shocking for people to know in a way, is that the other thing that's going on here is Number 10 and Keir Starmer are not doing anything in terms of government agenda and policy right now. They're just surviving. They'll be up all night, they'll be up all day today, just surviving. So the things that you vote a politician or a Number 10 into enforce and do are not happening now. They're just trying to get through the day. And that's another thing that is not really sustainable. It just isn't.
All right, Oscar, hang tight for a minute, because I just want to talk to former Labour advisor Matthew Talbot. Matthew, good morning to you.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private Internet Access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private Internet Access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GB News discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GB News to start protecting yourself digitally today.
The Prime Minister toast.
Yeah, but it has been for some time. I think this is only going to speed up events. For the last 12 months, I've assumed his time would be up. I just think it's similar to what Oscar said. I don't see how it's sustainable. I think this will speed up events in the sense of the by-election will no doubt be lost at the end of the month, and that will put further pressure on. We had a very bad set of local elections to come up in Wales and Scotland, no doubt Labour ending up third. And I just wonder whether he can actually command an authority, a majority at the moment, or authority for the office and respect for the public office, both from the public and from his own MPs. Because yesterday, anyone I spoke to, whether that be people on the left of the party, the soft left, or even the Blairites that would normally be supportive of someone like Keir Starmer and Peter Mandelson, all seem totally done with him.
I mean, it makes you wonder what their strategy will be for the next day, couple of weeks maybe, or even couple of months. But I mean, it is said that they were all in Number 10 last night, working through the night, trying to figure out what to do next, what sort of face to put to the world. And they've all got commitments today to make speeches and things. So you wonder, what do you think? What would you have advised them to do next?
I think I'd have jacked at him by now, let alone advise him. I think there will be an offering of a sacrificial lamb like Morgan McSweeney. I think that there's two problems there. Other than, political news bodies like us, the public don't really know who Morgan McSweeney is. People don't always know who these Svengali types are. Dominic Cummings was a different case because he'd been caught breaking lockdown and therefore held his own press conference in the Rose Garden, one of the most surreal things you'll see, really. So therefore he was propelled into the public's imagination. Alistair Campbell was obviously very front-facing and people knew exactly who he was. People don't know who Morgan McSweeney is, so you can offer him up if you want. Unfortunately, everybody knows who Keir Starmer is, and I think that the way he may survive is ordering a quick reshuffle, and maybe an offering to the soft left, Angela Rayner being offered back into the cabinet, having already received his public support again this week and last week.
But she's just stuck the knife in, Matthew.
Well, exactly, and she's better off on the inside than out, isn't she? Now, whether she would take that opportunity, I would not be so sure. And having spoke to Angela last night, I know she's feeling very pleased with herself and is doing the right thing as far as she's concerned. But I don't know.
Sorry, did you say you spoke to her last night?
Yeah, I speak to Angela a lot. She's happy in doing what she's doing. I think the thing that might save him is nobody acting, because unfortunately, I'm not sure if there is a minister with enough ambition and to put it quite bluntly, the conkers to take him on and say, OK, enough's enough now. That may come after the by-election.
I mean, Oscar, you were absolutely shaking your head against that.
Well, I just think that's fascinating, and I know the Tories did their fair share of it, but the idea that, Angela Rayner's, really chuffed with herself, whilst the country is in severe decline, because the Labour Party is eating itself and they're all having their games and they're positioning themselves, I think a year in is incredible. The Tories got to where they got to, which was horrific, do not get me wrong, after, pretty much, over a decade of power and a global pandemic and, having to regenerate itself time and time again. And, for the Labour government to be enjoying themselves playing these kind of games at the moment behind the scenes, I think is terrifying for the country.
Yeah, I know it's going slightly off-piste on it all, Matthew, but, there are people who always say Labour is not fit for government. Well, let's say to be in this position after 18 months would seem to imply they've got a point.
Yeah, some of us warned about it in opposition and said, I don't feel... This is exactly why I didn't carry on. I had no faith in that any of these people would be any good. And therefore, I can't put myself on the line and go, this is a project worth continuing with. So it doesn't surprise me. The judgment of people doesn't surprise me. I think some of these people on the right of the Labour Party are some of the most incompetent and dangerous people in the country. And the fact they have themselves in a position of power and are doing what they're doing with it, I think has been laid bare for all to see.
Has he got the whatsits to resign?
Clearly not, because the murmurings I had from the meeting last night is he doesn't really want to sack Morgan. Because the way he sees it is, if he sacks Morgan, he's vulnerable. Morgan is somewhat of a shield to him, unfortunately, and there will be somewhat of a domino effect. I think a lot of it will come down to his wife. I think in moments like these, people seek counsel from their partners, and if Lady Starmer says, look, it's not fair anymore, enough's enough, I hate seeing you like this, that may tip him over the edge. There was a time where that happened in opposition, not long after Hartlepool, and he was miserable at conference, and she looked even more miserable. And I think that's where people things happen behind the scenes, but none of us know about, if that makes sense. So I can't see him resigning unless his hand was forced by ministers going, we are about to go en masse, and therefore we think it's better for you and your dignity to resign now than all of us force you out.
Oscar, the thought is you've got to be careful what you wish for in a way, because I know there will be people at home going, great, let's see the back of him. But
who would we get?
We'd get David Lammy as an interim, wouldn't we?
This is what I kind of want to hear from someone like Matthew. It's all very well and good saying, well, I knew these lot were going to be rubbish, and but we're only 18 months into a Labour government. They had years upon years to prepare for government. What is next? I mean, we can't just go, well, they're all, Ed's rubbish, we can't have Ange, et cetera, make our way down the list. There will have to be, at some point, a new direction for the government of this country, which would be, a Labour government. So it's all very well, in a sense, Matthew, washing your hands now of, the Labour Party and what we've had over the last 18 months. But I'd be very interested to hear the direction you think it should now go.
I've long been a proponent that the only person I believe would even have a chance of doing something different and half a chance of beating reform at a general election would be Andy Burnham. Starmer has made it clear, where that's going. I think what will likely happen is despite being a little bit tainted by his association, Wes will get up to 200 MPs. Angela will no doubt get 100, and it'll be a face-off between the pair of them. The likelihood of that is, because the membership is in a very soft left place, Angela Rayner would win, and we would have Angela Rayner as the next Prime Minister. I think the best way I could put that is it would be an interesting experiment. Would it go well? No idea. It would be different, and I imagine would take on a different direction. Again, I don't know whether that would be good and if it would be enough to win at a general election. Unfortunately, we'll have to wait and see.
All right. Matthew Talbot, Oscar Reddrop, thank you both very much indeed. Fascinating.
It is, isn't it? A lot of people, a lot of commentators.
Scary, actually.
Yes, it is. A lot of commentators are saying this is worse than the Profumo affair. And if you can remember the Profumo affair back in the 60s, it didn't trigger an immediate general election, but it certainly brought the Conservative government down. They lost the next election a year later. And if this is worse, could it trigger a general election in any way, shape or form?
I don't know. I sort of doubt it.
Sort of doubt it too.
Because it's just not that easy to do.